So today we're going to talk about what most buyers just forget to budget for when buying a house down here in Florida. Hi everyone, this is Chris Glaser, your Boat Captain Realtor down here in sunny Southwest Florida. So if you're thinking about buying a home here, especially on the water, I'm going to go over some things that people, when buying a home down here, they just overlook. I'm going to show you what they are and why they matter, and how to avoid any surprises before we close the deal. So let's dive in. So today we're just going to cover a few things that people don't always think about or budget for when they are looking to buy a home down here in Florida. I moved down here 18 years ago. When I made my move, I found that insurance was something that was quite a bit more money than what I anticipated it being, and it's definitely gone up quite a bit in the last 18 years. I'm not going to get into car insurance. I really want to talk more about homeowners insurance and flood insurance. Now, if you're looking to live on the water, say on a canal or waterfront, hurricane insurance and hazard insurance and flood insurance, all these things add up, and a lot of folks from up north come down here, and they may just have a homeowner's policy with maybe flood, but it's different because they may not have nearly the level of high risk flood that we have down here in Florida. So a flood insurance policy in an area where there's very low risk might only be a couple $100 a year as an add-on. Whereas down here, you're going to find that those rates are going to be substantially more. Just to give you an example, I know our insurance, we pay approximately $2,500 for our flood insurance, and then we have homeowners insurance, which is another $2,500. And so you got $5,000 a year just in insurance costs. So there's really, in my opinion, three key things you got to take into consideration when looking at homes down here, especially waterfront homes. One is, where is it at, and is it in what they call a flood zone? There's different zones, and I'm going to put some maps up so you can see specifically what I'm talking about as far as evacuation zones and things such as that. The other thing that you have to take into consideration is, how old is the home? A lot of these older homes built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, their elevation level might be a bit lower. The reason elevation is as important as it is for storm surge. If a hurricane comes through and the house is built up to a higher level, well, guess what? And it's at a level that storm surge hasn't been recorded that high. Well, there's a good chance that you're going to get a lower insurance rate. So the big question is, how do insurance companies cover hurricanes in Florida? Well, most of your Florida insurance policies do include coverage for wind damage from hurricanes, so roof damage, windows if they blow out, interior water damage caused by wind entry, and this is where it gets really tricky. Detached structures like sheds and garages can be covered, but you got to keep in mind, hurricane coverage comes with a separate deductible. So usually that's based on the home's insured value. So whatever that insured value is, for example, if the insured value of the house is $500,000 and your hurricane deductible is, say, 2%, well, your deductible of 2% on that $500,000 insurance policy is a $10,000 out-of-pocket insurance deductible. So these are things that not everybody always budgets for. So when does that hurricane deductible come into play? Most insurance companies, it's going to come into play if there's a named hurricane storm. And when the named storm comes out, like Chris or Olivia or whatever the name of the storm is, that's when a hurricane deductible usually will apply, when an officially named storm is named by the National Weather Service. Now, one of the big misconceptions of insurance, or hurricane insurance specifically, is flood damage. And flood damage is not covered by homeowners insurance. Everybody thinks initially when they come down here, oh, well, I just need my homeowners, it'll cover it. Well, it does not. That's really one of the biggest misconceptions. So if your if your home floods due to a storm surge or rising water, you do need a separate flood policy or a flood insurance policy through the National Flood Insurance Program or private flood insurance. So many of the homes in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral, Fort Myers Beach, Naples, Marco Island, you name it, you're going to need not just your homeowner's insurance, but you're also going to need flood insurance. And not everybody always budgets for that when they look at making that move down here to Southwest Florida. So I work with several insurance agents down here regularly that will do their best to find you the right coverage for the right type of house. I'll just try to find you the right type of house when we do our search. And we'll try to keep it within your budget. So if you're looking to buy a waterfront home here in Southwest Florida, don't just ask what the home cost, ask what the insurance will cost. I always recommend getting quotes before making an offer, and I can help connect you with some of the best agents down here who specialize in waterfront properties, as well as high-risk hurricane properties. So another thing that people don't always think about when they make the move down here to Florida is storage. Up north, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, where I'm from, we had basements. So if we needed to store things, we would usually store it down in our basement. When I moved down here, no basement. So I had to either get rid of things that I was storing at my old house or put it in the garage. And of course, when you start putting things in your garage, well, now you can't keep your car in your garage. So just keep in mind that storage can be limited on homes down here. So what a lot of people end up doing is you'll see it seems like almost on every corner there are these storage garages and storage facilities. They're just all over down here. So I think if you're in the storage business, South Florida is a fantastic place to do it. So just remember, storage is definitely something that you may not budget for. So some of the other things that people don't always budget for, especially if you're looking to keep a boat at your house, say store it at your house, say on a canal, you're going to want to make sure things like your seawalls in good shape. Seawalls can get really expensive to repair if they're not. You're also going to want to make sure that your dock is in good shape. If it's an older dock and it's built out of wood, sometimes the pilings will start to rot and just wear out over time. You don't want to have a big surprise after you've closed and find out that you're going to have to replace your dock and eventually say your boat lift. Plus, boat lifts need regular servicing. So at the end of the day, living on the water can get quite expensive. So you got to consider some of those things when budgeting for a home down here. So another one of my captain's tips is always try to include, if you can, we'll negotiate in a seawall, a dock, a lift inspection during our due diligence, during an inspection period. Plus, if some of this is worn out and things are missing, I can help you negotiate some of these fixes into the deal. So another thing people don't always budget for when looking at homes down here are, do I need a direct access home for the type of boat I'm going to have, or do I need an indirect access home for the type of boat that I'm going to have down here in Florida? And what I mean by that is you might want a 40-foot yacht that has 15-foot height from water to top, and you want to buy an indirect access home because that's all you can afford. Well, you wouldn't be able to keep that particular vessel at your house, you would need a direct access home that wouldn't have any bridges to contend with. So you just have to keep those things in mind. So if, for example, you're looking at indirect access, you really want to be thinking of clearance of 8 feet from water line to the top of your vessel. Most of the bridges, I say almost all of them, even at higher tides, you really shouldn't have too much trouble. But of course, we would look at those on an individual basis, depending on the type of boat you're looking for, as well as the type of house you're looking for. So just keep in mind indirect access versus direct access. Those are one thing that not everybody always budgets for initially. So keep that in mind. So Southwest Florida is paradise, but like any paradise, it pays to know what you're getting into. As a boat captain realtor, I don't just help to buy a house. I want to try to help you understand the full picture. That way there's no surprises after you close on your new piece of paradise down here. So if you like this video and you found it helpful, click that subscribe button. We try to get new videos out at least once a week. If you're going to make your move in the next 9 or 90 days, reach out. I'd be honored to help.